Welcome back, Rawlicious souls. It is Toni. I have Justin Carpenter back on. It's been amazing. I could look, I'd have him on all the time. But as we, there's so many questions, and thank you all. I put it out there if you had any questions from his recent interviews with me, asking if you've got any, and also expanding on his work as well, what he does in the Telegram groups and with Charlie Freaks. So if you want to know more information on that, check him out. I'll put all this information in the description box below and across here as well. But we've got some amazing questions. Thank you. You've shared on my YouTube, the Instagram, many from the Instagram and Facebook. So if you do want to ask future questions, for those that want to know more and dig deeper, then do feel free to reach out and we'll bring him back on. I'm sure he'll be happy, hopefully, he'll be happy to come back on, Justin.
Anytime. Yeah, anytime. I love questions. Questions are the thing that gets me going, and there's no question that's off limits. There's no, I love it, and that was something that was very frustrating for me as I kind of came into searching for the truth, is when you'd have people that were very closed off and you couldn't ever reach them and you couldn't ever ask any questions. And I always told myself, you know what, if I was ever like that, I will make myself available and I will answer any question that I'm able to. And if I don't know, like, I'm happy to say that, but just to be available for the questions. So I love it. I am ready and excited to get into it and happy to be
I've
back.
I've noticed that, like, you are so giving. Like, I just think, is there like 10 of you, Justin? Because I don't know how you do it. Always on doing something. You're out there and you're sharing. Maybe not so much on the mainstream, as we all know why. And actually, one of the questions is something that I think's great to, yeah, which you'll expand on why you're not as on YouTube and things. But we'll get into that. So we have the first question. Dreamtime asked, I would like to know how he let go of the old relationships and how he deals with the loss of these people and how a raw diet has helped heal, not just physically, but mentally.
That's a beautiful question. That's fantastic. And it really is, when we start examining our food, when we start examining our diet, everything else starts to come up, and any of us who have started to embark on changing our diet, that you start to get all these questions from people around you of like, why, what do you mean you can just eat fruit? What do you mean you don't have to cook your food? What do you mean you don't need to eat animals and all these other sorts of things? And so it starts to create this divide. And so we can either become resistant to this, or we can just embrace this as part of the process. We can embrace that this is the way to step out of this matrix that was designed to kill us slowly. I mean, just to put it very, very plainly and very bluntly out there, the system was designed to kill us slowly as slaves, just very simply as such. And so anyone who starts to step outside of that system, all of a sudden they're ostracized. They're looked at as something odd and strange, because that's how the system perpetuates. That's how it keeps itself and preserves itself. There's not enough people within those who have crafted this system of control to actually maintain it and keep it in this sort of way. So the only way to keep that system in check is to convince each and every one of us to be like the prison guards within it. So anyone who starts to step outside of it, you'll get that reaction. You'll get that sort of retribution from everyone around you. I've heard it termed as like the Agent Smith effect, like from the Matrix movies. You start talking about the truth any which way, whether that's related to your diet, whether that's starting to question the events around 9/11. There's talking about, what happened within this whole scandemic thing. You'll notice somebody around you might turn into Agent Smith and start trying to beat you back and start trying to say, how dare you question the narrative? How dare you question my reality? How dare you question the matrix? Because if they allow that line of questioning to continue, then all of a sudden they have to start questioning their entire reality. And that's something that they're very much attached to. They don't want to go there. That's what the cognitive dissonance is. And that's what keeps us in this state. So as we start to do this, it does become a test of courage and bravery. It becomes this moment where we can stand true in our resolve and say, you know what, I'm tired of living that way. I'm tired of being a slave. I'm tired of dying. I'm tired of this system that is not out to help me. It's only designed to hurt and harm me. So I'm done with it. And anyone who stands in my way, I'm sorry. I love you, but if you're going to try and prevent me from doing this, then we can't continue in this sort of way. And that just has to be the hardline stance that you have to take. But you do it with kindness. You do it with absolute kindness, not in a space of trying to ridicule somebody else for making different decisions. Everyone's journey is their own. So you have to stand strong in your own journey, but also acknowledge everyone else's journey. So if someone wants to choose to continue poisoning themselves by eating all sorts of garbage and toxic things, that's their choice. They get to do that. But in that same token, you get to make the decisions to move towards that space of life. And it's tough. Like there's no getting around the toughness of it. But when we look at this from a truly spiritual perspective, this is, just to put it kind of biblically, and this doesn't just apply to one religion or one aspect. I just speak in these terms because I'm most familiar with it, but this is the straight and narrow path. Then this is challenging. This is supposed to be challenging. It's not easy. It's challenging because it helps to refine us and build that strength within so that we can step into our true power. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, then we wouldn't learn anything throughout this experience. So it's supposed to be challenging. And so each and every one of our relationships and people who we've grown up with and experienced with, they're for lack of a better term, they're sort of like the arbiter, they're the keeper of you in that slave mentality. And when you start to step out of it, they start to react violently almost, in ways where you have to disconnect and you have to say, you know what, I cannot deal with that anymore. You can live your life however you want to, but I have to go my own way. And if you want to come with me, that's beautiful. If you want to come along, that's amazing. But I'm not going to go to that old way. I'm not going to follow that path. That I've been there and I've done that, and it's full of misery. It's full of suffering. And while it's difficult to really do that, it comes with the rewards as well. And this is this magnetism that's a part of this spiritual journey as well. When we start to step out onto this path, yes, we will repel away those who are not aligning with that frequency that we're moving to. We're raising in frequency in that moment. Every step of the way we rise, we're raising in frequency. And that frequency both attracts those who are aligned with it, but it also repels those who are not aligned with it. It works in both ways. And so we just have to trust the process, that if someone is repelled by our frequency as we rise through this, it's not to judge them. It's not to be rude to them or mean to them if it starts to happen, but just acknowledge it's like, hey, like we're not aligned anymore. And that's okay. You get to go and you get to live and be how you want to, but I get to go and live and be how I want to as well. And trust that by me stepping out onto that, I am going to attract those who are aligning with that higher frequency. And that's going to happen naturally as well. So it's this letting go of all that no longer serves me, including old relationships, so that I can be led to these new relationships, these new ways that are going to serve me and help me reach this higher space. We can't have it all. You can't continue to hold on to these weights that are holding us back. And it's unfortunate, and it's okay to be sad about it. It's okay to mourn the loss of relationship. Each one it's a death of sorts. It's a loss, and that's okay to be sad about it. But there's also a joy to it as well, because while it's difficult to step away in that moment, you're providing that individual that you're stepping away from an opportunity to see something different. You're giving them a chance to break that pattern. And while they might not do it in that moment, you're planting a seed. You're giving them something to think about. And it's like, why, what is Justin doing? Like, why is he all of a sudden doing something different? Like, look how vibrant he is. Why is he so healthy? He doesn't look like he's aging like the rest of us are. Like, what's happening in this space? He's not. Why is he so happy? And even if they don't want to admit that to you, it's helping them find that within themselves. Otherwise, they just get stuck in these patterns. And that's what we're doing, is we're pattern breakers. You know, we're saying, I'm done with that pattern. I'm done with that cycle. I'm ready to move on. So it's tough. There's no getting around it, but the rewards are built into it. And so the more that, like, God honors courage. And so the more that we're courageous in each and every step, the more he's going to reward that. The more creation is going to reward that, because we're adding to this expansive experience in new ways. And that's all that this experience is about, is expanding. We're not here to just be complacent. We're not here to just sit around and do nothing. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to expand. And so the more that we do that, embark on it, then it rewards us. It gives back to us, after, as well as challenges us as well. There's no getting around the challenges, but it's just a part of it. So yeah, that's kind of my take there. I hope that helps.
That's powerful. Amazing. Words of wisdom there. Yeah, and how we deal with the loss. Yeah, you answered it all, and Rhoda is healed, not just physically, but mentally. Like you said, the mental aspect is the such awareness. I think it slows us down when we eat better, just as in the sense, gives us a lot of energy, but it also connects us. And like we was talking about the clearing the channels, and that's why we get these downloads, we get the connection. Yeah, great questions there from Dreamtime. Amazing. And Sarah asked, what are you eating at the moment?
Yeah, good question. At the moment, let's see. Today I had a whole bunch of mandarins. So I started my day with some water, a big liter of water with a bunch of limes in it. And then I switched to a whole bunch of mandarins. And I like to, sometimes I'll actually go through the process of juicing them, but sometimes I don't feel like doing that. And I'll just juice them with my mouth, which is just where you just chewing them up and you just spit out the pulp. And it's kind of a fun practice, because you're still like eating something, but you're just getting this nice juicy fruit. So I sat down actually while we were on the show earlier today, which was just a phenomenal conversation on confronting the darkness. And we have to do that by confronting it face on. And that's how we actually transmute it and come back to the light. We have to face the darkness in order to do that. So it was a phenomenal conversation that we had. But while I'm sitting there hearing all these people talk about all these different things, I'm here munching on mandarins in the background. And that's why Telegram's so great, because it's no camera, it's just chatting. So it's a nice space to do that. Because it's not, not super attractive to be spitting out a bunch of oranges all the time. But that was the bulk of what I ate throughout the day. And then I shifted towards a big some lettuce wraps. So I still had some mix of my salad and sauce that I'd made last night. And so I just got a whole bunch of big pieces of lettuce. I cut up some zucchini and some red peppers, and I made some lettuce wraps, and it was delicious. Absolutely. Oh, and I had some hummus too. So I found out recently that you can sprout sprout chickpeas and make hummus with it, and it's just phenomenal. So I'm a big fan of this, because it's still raw, but it gives you kind of a little bit more of a denser feel to you, if you want to have that satiation. So I made some raw hummus, and that's literally all it is. You just sprout the chickpeas. Super easy to do. It's super easy to sprout. You can find videos to do it, but it's just essentially soaking them overnight, putting them out for about 2 days, rinsing them occasionally, and then they sprout, and then you just throw that in a blender, throw some water and some spices, and you've got a delicious hummus that's still raw, and it's amazing. So big fan of that. And so yeah, that was my dinner. And then I've got some more lime water that I'll finish up the night with. I might snack on a few dates here and there, but yeah, probably just hang out with the water for now. So yeah, that's been my day, and that's pretty normal. I've been staying all raw. Um, yeah, just with the kind of denser meal in the late afternoon, early evening, and then um yeah, then fruit the rest of the time, just that hydration, and I feel wonderful. It's a good combination to do all of that. And I think I mentioned in the last show, I've really been enjoying. So in the sauce, I had Irish sea moss, and I've really enjoyed putting some of that gel in just about every sauce I make, just getting at least a little bit of that in every day. And that's just a really mineral packed punch that you can get if you do a lot of green juices and things like that. But I don't always spend too much time going through and making the green juices. And here in Mexico, you can't always find the best quality of stuff to make green juices. So yeah, I've been supplementing with this natural sea moss and just making a gel with that and having that too. So getting lots of minerals, getting lots of glucose from the fruit, and feeling rich and right. So that's me. That's me now.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm the same with wanting something a little denser in the afternoons. I was trying for a while the hummus. Like, I feel you've got it. If you do it yourself, it's easy. But if you, I was buying the pre already done sprouts, and I find sometimes you got to be careful. Did you get any tart taste? I think mine was to do with there wasn't as fresh as then.
Mm.
I think you want to be doing quite quickly, like you say, you did it to soak them and give it
Yeah.
a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, I just bought the dried chickpeas myself, soaked them, and then sprouted them for, I think it took like 2.5 days to do that. And this was the first time making it. I did notice that I probably wouldn't want to let it sit for too long.
Oh,
It's probably just a few days good. But yeah, I mean, it tasted good the whole time.
yeah, that's good. And with lime as well.
Yeah,
Delicious.
yeah, it's super good.
So Dave asked, have you started the Zen cleanse yet? And many say it's too much for the body and too quick to remove many of the parasites.
Yeah, so I did the Zen cleanse. I did the rainbow cleanse, which includes both the Zen cleanse one, which is the bowel formula, and then also has the liver and gallbladder formula, and then also some enzymes to kind of cleanse the body even deeper. And I had a really good experience with it. I thought the digestive one, the bowel formula, it did well. It pulls so much out of your intestines, and a lot of it that came out of me because I took videos, and if you want to see them, I can certainly send them to you if you're curious. But I posted them on my group chat on Telegram, and most of what comes out is just the because it's like a psyllium husk enzyme kind of mixture, and so that's the majority of kind of what sweeps through your bowels and cleans out a lot of stuff. But I did get one long, nasty looking piece of mucoid plaque that was probably like a meter and a half long, and
Wow.
it looked like it looked like old congealed meat. Like it was that same, because I had like gloves on and I was seeing the texture of it, and it had a old meaty kind of texture to it. So it was pretty gross, and I was really glad to get that out of me. Um, so for that alone, like it's fantastic to just, because I mean, I'm sure that it would have eventually come out of me, but I'd rather get that out now because these are just spaces that are bogging down our digestion. They're spaces where parasites can latch onto and hide and stay in. And so I was glad to get that out. So well worth it for me for that. And then the liver cleanse was fantastic as well. I kind of did so when you do it, you can kind of do, if anyone's familiar with Andreas Moritz's kind of liver and gallbladder cleanses, they are intense. Like they're definitely intense on the body, and it's like a lot to go through. So you got to weigh in whether you want to go through this kind of experience or not. But it does do a really effective job at pulsing your liver and getting out these stones, which are congealed fat basically that have just accumulated within the liver and gallbladder. And so I did that, and I actually tacked on two extra sort of oil flushes within it. So when you do their formula, your body's flooded with these enzymes that help to kind of open up the liver, open up the gallbladder, make these stones a lot easier to pass. It softens them, makes them easier to move. And those enzymes kind of last for 24 hours. So they say that if you want to, so you do one night where you drink a lot of olive oil and lemon juice, and they're kind of like juice combination. Theirs doesn't taste that bad. It's not too bad to do. It doesn't feel that great to drink that much oil, and it just makes sense. Like our bodies are not made to have condensed oil like that. So that it's a good reminder of like, yeah, that I shouldn't really be putting this kind of stuff in my body. But for a strictly medicinal purpose, of going for this flush, it is very effective. So I did it that one night, and then the next day you can do two more oil pushes. And so it's the same thing of just you essentially get olive oil and grapefruit juice or lemon juice yourself and make two more mixtures, do one more at noon, lay there for 45 minutes and kind of like send a lot of energy to the liver, and then do another one that night before bed. And the following day, I mean, even that first day, but the following day, like holy smokes, like there were so many. I got tired of collecting them. Like I started collecting them after a while, and like looking at again, took a video of this if anyone's curious, but these like dense green little liver stones that were just pouring out of me, and it was hundreds. It was hundreds. Like there were some pretty big ones too, but mostly smaller ones. And like I said, I got tired of collecting them because it was just continuous, just so much of this stuff came out of me. So I was really grateful to go through it. I think it's an expensive protocol. It's not something that, you can be frivolous with, but when you think about what else you have to do in order to cleanse to this degree, like you're going to be investing some money to go any which direction. Like just doing lots of juicing is not necessarily the most inexpensive thing to go off of anyway. So I think it's really effective. I think they've got a good formula down. And I'm probably not going to do one again right away, but when it's back in my budget again, I probably will do another one just to see if I get any more results with it. Um, so I like it. I think it's a good thing to do. It was kind of intense, the 7 day aspect of the rainbow cleanse. I didn't eat anything else, and there was something about because I'd done the longer water fast, and that was easier than doing this as far as my energy level. Yeah, there was something about it, like, and I think it's really due to the fact that you're still consuming like a little bit. You're consuming the enzymes and then this like juice mixture that they send to you. So it's just like a little bit that your body's getting, but it's not enough. And so I feel like your body has an easier time going into a true fasted state, and it kind of balances out. But when you're just taking, at least in my experience, when you're just taking this little amount, it seems to have a harder time balancing out. And plus, I was probably going through lots of cleansing because that's what the enzymes are designed to do. Like they're designed to like clean the blood and clean your whole system while you're doing it as well. So yeah, it's a lot. You definitely want to take time off to slow down, and even coming back after the cleanse, it took me a few days for my energy to kind of balance out again. Um, but well worth it. I can't say that I had like some people will talk about stuff coming out of them. They're like, I had this whole like psychedelic experience and all these other sorts of things. And I can't say I had that necessarily. I was feeling good prior to the cleanse. I still feel really good. I'm feeling better every day. So what can I say? Like, I'm really glad I got that stuff out of me. But it wasn't like anything profound as far as like I'm a completely different person or whatever. But definitely well worth it in my opinion. Like I would do it again.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
that's
good to
that.
know. Yeah, thank you. And then Diana asked, what does truth seeker mean to you? Mm.
Yeah. So truth is anything that aligns us with moving towards our higher potential. Truth is moving towards God, and God is our greatest good. God is inherently good. This creation is inherently good. We are inherently good. So anything that aligns us towards that inherent goodness is truth. And we all know when we hear truth and when we feel truth, we all align with it. We like truth. We like the feeling of we don't like lies. We do it. That doesn't create a good feeling. We don't appreciate that. We don't like being lied to, but we like truth. We align with it. So a truth seeking truth is something that we all naturally do. We're all naturally inclined to it. Some of us have forgotten more so than others how to do this, or what the importance of doing this is, because society wants to condition us away from seeking truth. Society as we know it is the lie. It's based on lies. It teaches us lies. It perpetuates lies. And so society is against truth, and it's against truth seeking, because anyone who is seeking truth is ultimately moving away from the system, is moving away from society and what it's created. So truth seeking is in Sanskrit, it's satyagraha, which is seeking truth. And this is a guiding principle that really, people like to make like God's law complicated, but it's really not. That like these guiding principles are simply satyagraha, which is seek truth, and ahimsa, which is cause no harm. And really that's it. That's it. That's as complicated as it has to be. If we align with those two things, those two guiding principles, if we seek truth wherever it lies, we're not trying to be subjective about it. I don't invent what truth is. I'm not making up what truth is. I am seeking it because truth is just what is. It is the natural creation, and it's the natural thing that we're all a part of. Has no bearing on my opinion or what I think it is. I have my relative perception on what truth is. And I'm bound to my relative perception, and that can only take me so far. But my aim is to have my relative perception aligned with the truth as much as I'm able to in all moments. And that is my objective in each and every moment. That's what I'm aligned to. And then ahimsa, cause no harm. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. Just don't cause any harm while we're here. It's very simple. But seeking truth is just this inherent pull that we have that guides us to forever expand, so that we're always growing. So we don't have to necessarily even learn anything from any book or from any guru or master or teacher or anything like that, as long as we're aligned with this seeking truth and we just go out into nature. We observe nature. Nature is everything that is, that's not artificial and not created by the hands of man. That's all nature is. And if we just observe the natural creation, then we align with truth naturally. And so we don't even have to learn from all of these books and different things. As long as we stay aligned with what is natural, we figure out what our food is. If we're truly honest with ourselves, if we're truthfully being honest with ourselves, if we're not lying to ourselves, and we put things into our mouth and truthfully observe what happens, we quickly figure out, oh, when I spend a whole day eating this shit, I feel like crap, like I don't feel good. So that's not my food, you know? So if I'm truly aligned with truth, not my senses and what I want truth to be, but what it is, then I will find that, oh, this fruit this is how I feel the best. This is where I feel the most energy from. This is where I feel the most hydration from. This is where I can sustain the longest. This is what's freely given to me without me having to harm anything, And so it just everything we figure it all out. And so that's all really seeking truth is just having that commitment. And I like to, because we live in a society that's built on lies and it's designed to perpetuate those lies, it is something that you have to be a little bit more bolder about in declaring, because everything's designed to stifle that. Everything's designed to push that away and to beat down anybody who does do that. But the more of us that stand up and say, I don't give a shit what you say about me, like I'm seeking that because I want to better myself. I want to do better. I want to do better. And that's it. That's all that commitment truly leads us. And everything else just flows naturally. It's a beautiful way this creation is set up, and it's really quite simple. We like to complicate it. The lies are complex. The lies are complex. The truth is very simple. It's not always easy, but the truth is very simple. And so all we have to do is just unravel the complicated lie, disconnect from the complicated lie, and then move towards this simple truth that's always available. And that's it. So that's what seeking truth is.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because people go on about, oh, truth is different for everybody, but it's not. When we look, if we can just look to nature, I like that. Like, just go back to basics, go back to the simplicity of what, yeah, of what life. And it's the same with, like, I see it as a win-win for everybody. My actions, I'm always questioning, is this a win for the animals, for me, for someone, for others? Do you know, if I'm consuming something that's not healthy, that weighs me down, my energy is affected, then it affects others because my energy is energy on them. I may be more angry, more restless, more irritable. And then if I was consuming animals, then obviously it affects that, and then that's a whole cycle. So yeah, we can never be perfect, but we strive for the just the win-win scenarios as much as we can. and live our lives, yeah, within an alignment of what truth, what nature is. Yeah, I think that was a really good explanation.
Thanks. Yeah,
Thank you.
we just have to do better. We just have to try and do better.
Just keep
That's
doing
it.
better. Yeah, not perfect, it's just better.
Yeah. If we fall, that's okay. Just get back up and do better. That's part of it. But that's the commitment. That's the diligence, is to get up and say, I want to do better.
So Tim asked why you aren't on YouTube. Oh, well,
Well,
that's a long story, Tim.
I was on YouTube.
It was.
I was on YouTube twice. I had a channel that got up to about 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. It was called Wandering Toward Truth, and that was where I sort of blossomed into who I am today. Finding my voice. I went from a channel of 40 some odd subscribers, and then I got kind of hooked up with Charlie Freak and Colleen, and they got their channel taken down because the algorithms don't really like certain things being said. And so and I don't like censoring myself. I really don't. I don't like. I'll be nice on certain things on Tony's channel, but it's really not fun to censor myself and not say certain things. YouTube has seemed to have gotten better. It's not quite as rigorous with taking down channels as it used to, but it was pretty brutal for a while. So their channel got taken down. I don't know how my channel stayed up as long as it did. I mean, it was almost a year of like hard hitting videos. We didn't censor ourselves at all. We talked about the scamdemic. We talked about every every which thing, every controversial subject that you could possibly imagine, because it just so happens that in a world based on lies, where everything is based on a lie and every aspect of our lives is a lie as told by society, well, when you tell the truth, that's about as radical thing as you can possibly do. And that structure doesn't really like to be challenged. And so I was surprised that it lasted as long as it did. So that lasted for about a year. That was 2021, 2020, going into 2021. And then it got taken down towards the end of 2021. I started another one that was just my name, Justin Carpenter, and that one got up to like 4 or 5 thousand subscribers, and it got taken down again. That one was like, I think I got reported by some people that didn't really like me, because I got taken down for cyberbullying. Like, because I'm such a horrible horrible person.
Oh,
I'm such a bully, but people, I think people were targeting me and reporting all my videos, and I guess it eventually just got flagged for, I don't they didn't specify. I appealed it both times, and they didn't get back to me. They didn't say anything. So it's a shame. There was a lot of good stuff on there, a lot of good playlists. I got most of it back up, at least the really good stuff. I got it back up on my website. So all those series you can still find, like our music decode, our like the series I did with Casey Vegetable Police. That was fantastic. Like mankind's quest for true health. Like we interviewed a whole bunch of people and had a lot of fun doing that series. But you can find all those on my website, justincarpenter.org still. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think YouTube's a great platform as far as how it works. I wish it didn't have the censorship. I wish it didn't have the sort of because it really is. There's not a better, as far as I've found, not a better platform out there to go live on, to categorize your work, to be organized, to make playlists and all these sorts of things. It really is a dreamy platform. And maybe I'll get back on it at some point or another. But right now, I'm enjoying Telegram, just because there's literally no censorship whatsoever. I mean, I can say any and everything and not have to worry about any of that. So I do that, and I host my old videos on Odyssey, which hasn't given me any trouble. And then I put all those on my website. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But maybe YouTube will come around someday. We'll see.
yeah. Yeah. Well, at least like even like for me, I just want to give you a little, some exposure even on mine, because there'll be risks. Maybe in the future it gets flagged when this channel grows bigger. Who knows? But there's a
Yeah.
risk for me. It's like, what I'll deal with it when I deal with it. I'm careful, because before I never used to be. I used to be quite yeah. Um, I didn't really. I'm playing the game more now on certain platforms, which yeah, we've got to do. But at least you now have Telegram. You're not completely wiped off, which yeah, is a shame. But at least there is other channels, media platforms. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a blessing too, because I mean Telegram really is, YouTube was great for the live streaming and the video aspect, but Telegram's been really wonderful as far as encouraging others to jump in the conversation as well. And so that takes the pressure off, me from having to say stuff all the time, and we can really just engage in a real conversation. And it allows other people who have questions to come on and talk about whatever they want to, for us to have engaging conversations in that way. So there's definitely benefits to all things around. So yeah, it comes with all sorts of good things too.
yeah, yeah, it has. Yeah, so you've got many options. Lara asks, why do you think a yogi spiritual guru is not vegan? We actually did a video on this. Oh no, more referring going back, but yeah, and we did touch on this, didn't we, in one of our calls? I'll link that in the description box actually. But if you want to expand, why do you think yogis, spiritual gurus, are not vegan?
Oh, in general, why they're not vegan? Well, because they don't. I, I can't answer for anyone specifically on why they don't realize what the truth is, but when people don't honestly seek the truth and they want to continue lying to themselves, that the fact that we're not designed to eat meat, and yet I'm going to pretend like if I put this in my body, somehow it's going to do me something good. Well, I can't really, it's like, why do people do any which way that harms themselves? Or why do and I'm not speaking out of judgment, like we all came from these kind of ways. We all came from society which trained us to eat every sorts of things and live certain ways, and have no idea which way was up. And so it took that step of bravery and courage to step outside of it. But I think people will come around and realize it if they were really honest with themselves about it. But so I can't really answer for anyone specifically on why they do what they do. It's like, I don't know why a lot of people do what they do. It's like, but then I remember, like, okay, well, I used to do it too, so I guess I get it to some degree. But I wish I had somebody like myself come around and be like, hey, what, wake up, like, get out of that, stop doing that. But everyone does it in their own time, and that's something we have to be at peace with too. If we try and live our lives based on others' journeys and where they are, then that's a life of misery. If I'm always attached to how else is and what they're doing with their time and their space, then I'm not free. I'm bound. I'm binding myself in a slave state. I'm keeping myself in a prison, basing myself off others. I don't need to do that. I need to just stay focused on my journey and acknowledge that that's all going to work out, and everyone gets to where they need to go, and they need to go through the lessons they need to go through in order to experience that. So if somebody wants to continue poisoning themselves by eating something that they're not designed to eat, well, then they'll get to that space where they'll get sick, where they're like, wow, this is not working for me. Maybe I need to change or not. But the natural world is kind of unforgiving in that way. It doesn't really care what we think about it. That's what we were talking about earlier about truth. Like, truth doesn't really give a shit what you believe. It doesn't care what you think about it. It doesn't care what your opinion is. It just is. And so we either can get an alignment to it and harmonize and flow and flourish and rise and ascend, or we can fight against it and pretend our opinions matter more, and then we suffer and then we die. It's really as simple as that. This is life or death. This is a duality. We have a choice in each and every moment. Every single thought, word, and deed is one choice or the other. Are you making choices that are moving towards life, or are you making choices that are moving towards death? And of course we make a mixture of choices throughout our days, and but as that's we have to start being honest with ourselves about what we're doing. And when we do, then we start to really quickly identify, oh wow, okay, I was making some poor choices there. I need to redirect. I want to make some different choices. I want to do better. And it's not to beat ourselves up or be ashamed of our choices and what we have done, But it's just to wake up and say, you know what, I want to do better. I want to take those baby steps and I want to do better. I want to move in the right direction. But
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, yeah. We're all at different stages. Yeah. And if we can come from love with that, because that was one of my frustrations. But we had a great chat about it on one of our calls with about can you be spiritual and still eat animals? And we discussed that in further detail. So I'll link that. Last question. Sam asked, what's happening and when is the big reset? Okay, what is happening?
Yeah, it's a good question. So what's happening right now is we are on the verge of, we're on the precipice, we're on the verge of transition, we're on the final um moments of this old system collapsing, so to pave way for the new to rise up from it. This is symbolic of the phoenix burning away into the ashes so it can be born again, born anew. And this is a part of our process as well. We go through this transformation every year. We are a cyclical being. We go through the four seasons and we go through this death and resurrection. We go through the winter, which is the death, and then we spring to new life, which is, where new life begins, and when we flourish, and then we fall, and then we die, and then we spring to new life. And this is just part of us. um but right now we're kind of on a larger cycle where us collectively have gone through a fall. We fell. And there doesn't take very far to look and to see how far we fell, and the examples of what we fell into. It's not good. There's not a lot of goodness out there as far as how society structures things and how people are cared for, how our children are cared for, how our elderly are cared for, how our animals are cared for. That's an easy gauge to see the health of a society, is how those who need the most care are cared for, and there's no care and compassion within that. And we can see that it's growing. I think that's changing, where we feel that and we want that. um so that that acknowledges that we had fallen, and we had fallen pretty far. But part of that is to let that old way die so that we can be born anew, so that we can rise from that fall and start to get back up again. There's nothing wrong with the fall. I hope that we don't ever fall this far again, and that's the choice that we get to make when we start to rise, is that it's supposed to be so invigorating within us. It's supposed to help us learn to have it imbued into our very essence, so that we never forget what happened. We never forget how far we fell into this hell, so that we'd never ever go through it again. So we teach our children, our children's children, our children's children's children, everyone. We teach them about this moment in time and what we went through, so that everybody knows the importance of seeking truth and causing no harm. All these things that are very simple, but somewhere along the way we decided it wasn't important enough to do the right thing. Oh, that's somebody else's job. It's not my job. I'm not going to take care of it. Oh, I'm not going to worry about that person being taken advantage of, because whatever, I've got my family to worry about. Like, as soon as we started saying these kind of things and not doing the right thing, then that's what caused us to fall even further. So we're all responsible for where we got to. Yes, there is an extraordinarily evil group of people who crafted this slavery system, but we are responsible for our complacency that allowed them to put the blindfold onto us. At any moment, we could have said no. At any moment, we could have said, get the hell away from me, you freaks. I'm not participating in this system. But we didn't. We didn't. We just continued to go along with it. And that's why the whole all of it has just been such an eye-opening experience, just to see how far we had fallen into this unwillingness to do anything, just to go along with these mask mandates and all these other sorts of nonsense and not question anything. A lot of us did stand up and rise up against it, and that was powerful. And those of us who have done that, where that resolve is very much going to be needed to help build this new earth and guide those who are going to be transitioning and didn't realize what was going on until this moment that we're about to go into. So that's kind of the lead up into this point, is assuming responsibility for getting to this space. But now the stage has been set for the final moment, which is this big transitional phase where, ready or not, here we come. Ready or not, the change is happening, and we're about to see the curtain ripped back, and we're about to see the depth of what we had fallen into, and the depth of the lie on every single detail. And this this is, a lot of people have a hard time with this concept and think that this is all just a bunch of nonsense, but you'll see. And this is really the culmination of this military operation that's been going on for years now, that's known that we were falling into the depths of hell, knew they had to do something about it, and decided not to go the overt route of halting society and taking out this evil group openly in that sort of way. They did it in secret at first. And then the next set of the steps for the last, arguably 6-7 years, it's been a psychological operation, but by the good guys, by the military, who have our best interests in mind, to prime the public for this great awakening, for this moment where everything is going to be unveiled, everything's going to be revealed. So everything's been taken care of from a military perspective. We don't have anything to fear as far as retribution, or all that's going on right now is a staged setup designed to piss us off, designed to instigate us and get us to pay attention, by the good guys. They are controlling all the media, they're controlling all the news, they're controlling every aspect of what we're seeing now on the public stage, in order to inspire us to do something, in order to piss us off and get us to stop just being so complacent and wake up on our own. Because if we do this, bless you, but if we do this on our own, then it's more of a powerful sign to sort of prepare ourselves to be leaders in this next phase. Now, granted, the majority of people will not, no matter what happens, no matter how far. I mean, they would have just followed mask mandates for decades. I mean, you look around at some people, and it's like this would have just been their lives, and they would have just told their kids and their kids, like, yeah, we just wear masks now. I don't even know why we wear it, but that's just what we do. And so they know that there's a large portion of the population, the majority, that regardless of what happens, they're not going to snap out of it. So the next event is going to be this big, like, kick in the ass that's going to get every ounce of society to stop, to come to a screeching halt, and for everyone to face the truth of what we have been not willing to acknowledge on our own. And so, ready or not, here it comes. And I'm talking, we are so close to that moment of that big transition happening. And so for those of us who are ready, willing, and able to embrace the truth, and it doesn't matter how far you've come to embracing the truth, even just listening to Toni and having this realization of, like, hey, I want to eat better. Like, the food aspect is arguably the hardest thing for people to wrap around. So if you've got a grasp on the fact that we've been lied to about our food and you want to eat something different, that's, like, in my experience, that's the most difficult one for anyone to come to terms with. That's the one that people fight the most. So coming to terms with that one, you're already in such a huge leg up for embracing this realization of, like, oh, holy shit, okay, so we got lied to about this and that and that and that. Oh my God, like, we were lied to about everything. Like, every aspect of what we've been told we've been lied to about that. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be an easy thing to wrap around, but you're already ready, more so than the vast majority of everybody else. And so those of us who are listening to a call like this now, you're so much further ahead, and that's for the most benevolent reason of being this guide for those as we go through this transition, as we go through this space, so that you can reach out the hand and say, it's okay. Like, I've been learning about this kind of stuff. I didn't know everything that we're being told right now, but I knew some of this stuff. And this is what we have to realize. This is what we have to come to terms with. So it has to go through a full screeching halt, a full death of that society. Everything that we knew and how it was run and operated, every ounce of this bureaucracy and nonsense and taxes and all that shit that just makes no sense whatsoever as far as like what we know is right and what we know is good. It's just there, and we just think, oh, that's just how it's always been. So I guess that's just how it's got to be. But no, all of that stuff is going away. And then we're going to get the opportunity to rebuild this earth in the way that we want it, in the way that makes sense, where everyone is cared for, where all is right, and there's not going to be any room for corruption. There's not going to be any room for malevolence, for harming another. There's not going to be any room for that where we're going to. And so that's what the military is stepping in with. And this is worldwide. This is not exclusive to any country. This is not exclusive to any. This is worldwide. This is happening. All the world's militaries are on the same page, and it's going to happen at the same time. So no one's excluded. No one's left out from this. And from that point forward, the military will be there exactly as what they're supposed to be, to protect and to serve us. We will be in charge. We'll be the ones who are calling the shots. We'll be the ones who can ask for help any which way. And they will be there to ensure that none of these nasty people who had sold out their fellow brothers and sisters, they had sold out to all these, to money and greed and power and all these other sorts of things. They will have no room to prosper, and they will have to either atone for their sins and what they've done to everyone, or they will be done with, so so at that point we are going to go through society with a fine-tooth comb and examine every single legislative office, every single school board, every single government position, every single, you name it, every single aspect of society with a fine-tooth comb, and locate every single ounce of corruption that happened, every single individual that decided to push vaccine mandates on their people, and and you're either going to get fired, you're going to go to prison, or you're going to get executed, depending on the level of depravity that you fell into. And that's going to be consistent throughout. And then from that point on, we're going to get to rebuild this whole place from a space where people are drawn to positions to help their fellow man and do the right thing, not because of greed, not because of money. Money is going to be taken care of. Everyone, we've been stolen from for our entire lives, inordinate amounts of wealth. All of that's coming back to us. All this, the cost of everything is going to go down at least 90%, if not further. So that in and of itself is going to be huge for just the prosperity of everyone. But then over time, all this money is going to be returned to us. And so everyone's going to be able to take care of their family, take care of themselves, and pursue their dreams, especially if your dreams are to help your fellow man and woman, help your brothers and sisters. Those kind of people are going to be lifted off in the best ways possible. The best ideas will rise to the surface. Everything will get better. And it will just be, instead of having this proprietary thing where people guard their ideas and guard their secrets, their trade secrets and things like that. No, it'll be about sharing. It's like, you've got a good idea. I want to get my good ideas out there to the world and help in as best way I can. Oh, you want to take my idea and make it better? Absolutely. Like, do that. And we'll just keep sharing this beautiful system, and it will just grow and grow and grow. The potential is unlimited. And from that point, we will just continue to rise. It's there. We'll have our challenges, of course. We'll have our moments where we'll have to go through growing pains and have conversations about things, and always be open to change. But as long as we're all collectively working on this beautiful reality, then we're just going to get better and better. So that is right there. I mean, I can taste it. I can taste it right around the corner, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. So get ready for that. Get ready for the moments of moving through this transition as being the hardest thing that we have ever gone through in the history of consciousness. And I'm not saying that lightly. It's and it will be full of a lot of deaths of people who are not ready and willing to go through this kind of transition. People who are so attached to the society and so attached to the lie, even regardless of how good it comes across, they will not be able to handle that big of a transition. But the more of us that step up and say, I'm ready to help any which way I can, I'm ready to be comforting, I'm ready to, we are so powerful. We are so freaking powerful. And just the frequency that we emit, just by being in a state of calmness, you will help so many. Just by offering that help to others around you, you will help so many. So steel yourself for that, build your foundation, build your strength on that. Um, and yeah, we'll get through this, and then it's just a bright future ahead of us. So that's what's right around the corner, and it is very, very exciting.
Yeah, we had a personal call on it, didn't we? We were discussing further into this, and if you're experiencing a lot of challenges right now, some heated discussions and some really big shifts. It's preparing us, getting us ready for this transition. It's reassuring. It's a nice feeling to know that it turned it around for me, having that. Yeah, this is growing that warrior within. This is growing that, okay, we're going to set some boundaries here. This is not acceptable anymore. What's happening? What's been going on? Many have just allowed it, just accepted it, and there's those that are now stepping forward. This is not acceptable anymore, and there's going to be resistance. There's going to be a lot of, yeah, very, heightened emotions from a lot of people. People are getting angry, upset, and frustrated. Yeah, we might feel like we've got things back to normal per se. This is far from where it's going to be, and much better. It's going to be a bit, and like there's going to be those that are going to be skeptical, but there's those that are on this path that are actually working on and seeing through the veil and exposing and getting deeper. And when you go down this rabbit hole, we're seeing the truth, and more people are seeing it now than ever. More people are going raw vegan, like this space is opening up. So we're seeing these big shifts, this reassurance that this changes. There's big changes. Awakening's happening whether you're going to believe it or not. So and I feel it already.
Yeah, and this is ultimately, this is God's plan. I mean, this is revelation. This is biblical. This is this is this is the transition of all transitions, where we fell into hell, and we're coming back out of it again. And so, ready or not, here it comes. And that's why the choice between life and death is so vital, and it does apply to everything. And if we continue to choose death, then we shall have it. And that's how it's always been. But it's even more important now, as the veil is lifting, the consequences of our choices become more real, but also the rewards of making the right choices become a lot more real as well. That's karma and dharma. If we operate with karma, this perpetual need to get harsh lessons to step out of the death pattern, or we can operate in the life pattern and receive the dharma, which is this benevolent help for everything that we do. And the choice is ours, whether which path you want to go down. And we can flip flop and go down either which way. But when you really start aligning with that dharma and have that highest goodness flow through you, recognizing that God is good, this creation is good, we are good, and everything is good in it. So if I align myself to good, if I align myself to truth, truth is good, then it just gets better. So let's just keep doing that.
Yeah, even if there's those that are on the fence with this and don't understand the whole, like they're just coming into this new. I do have some friends and family and even clients that are in the earlier stages of just even the the awakening. They're just starting this process. Is that just have that peace of mind and reassurance that it can only come from love. Let's move in that direction. If we focus on this energy, if you go more towards that, then it's a much better way to live, to have a life of this. If we keep being angry and this violence and violence on the plate, violence in our minds, violence to others. This is what's going to keep it there. But we're over. This light is getting so much bigger than the dark. Like you said, we're moving through. So I feel like just gravitate towards the light side. Gravitate towards the love, the kindness. Start with the food, nourishing the body, the mind, the soul. Do things that we love. Care for one another. Reach out. Speak up. Get more of us speaking up. of exposing the truth in whatever capacity. It can be with what you're sharing, and if you're sharing about the food industry, the animal industry, all industries, the vaccines, and it's great. And that's where, for someone that is on already on, like you were just sharing, then on this path of looking at what we're consuming every day, what we're doing to the animals. This is just the start. This is where we're going to unveil where we're seeing a lot more. And many of us now, I'm seeing more, seeing, like, just realizing, especially with what's happened, what else have we been lied to about?
Yeah,
And it,
everything. You start to unravel it all, and it becomes very obvious after a certain point when we're honest with ourselves. And if we find that resistance within of like, I don't want to go there, I don't want to look at that, well, that's something to look at. That's a
yeah.
weight that's holding you back. And when we truly surrender to this process and recognize that we're always being led to the truth, we fight against that. But when we stop fighting and embrace it, then it just gets better. So,
Mm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
let's do
Can't
that.
keep hiding anymore. We're not hiding. We've got to step up, do something.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of that now, and it's reassuring, but it's also makes, like you said, it's a beautiful, yeah, it's comforting knowing that we're shifting and in a big way, and it's so intense because it's getting us ready. We're going through this massive transition. So thank you, Justin. Thank you so much for coming on. Great questions. So thank you for those that asked. If you have any more questions for Justin, we'll bring him back on. Feel free to ask. But if you want to find Justin's work, he's got his website, justincarpenter.org, and it's on Telegram. All that information is in below. Do you want to give a last takeaway for those that are listening?
Yeah, well, thank you, Tony, for having me on. And I would just say that, that whether or not you believe all the aspects about the transition we're going through collectively, it really is just simple. Just acknowledge the transition that you are going through individually. Embrace that change. Recognize that when I do embrace the change and move in that direction, that is true. Everything gets better. So I don't even have to focus on what's going on in the out there. It's all about finding that connection within, facilitating that and building that strength from that space. And then it starts to reciprocate. This creation starts to bounce back to me with that same vibration. So you literally don't have to do anything else but try that. And I promise you it will bounce back at you tenfold. If we operate in kindness, in love, it comes back to us tenfold. So that's all we have to do.
Agree. Amazing. Yeah, within. Yeah, thank you so much, Justin. We end with the be, feel, and stay Rawlicious. Are you ready?
Yep.
Be,
Be, feel,
feel,
and
stay
stay rawlicious.
Rawlicious. Kiss, kiss.